Hey everybody, welcome to this bonus episode of Good News Bay. We are here with a podcast and our goal is to brighten Bay County one conversation at a time. We have some surprise and special guests with us this time from Houston.
Yes.
Our friends from Houston's First. We have Colee and Jarret Garber, both who are on staff at Houston's First. You know, our viewers and listeners probably are unaware of just how deep and long the tradition, if you will, of Houston's First sending teams to Bay County, to Panama City runs. You were telling me, Jarret, that y'all been coming for like the last 7 years?
7 years. 7 years to Bay City.
To Panama City.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah.
When you guys roll in, and hang on, before I get into all that, tell me, Jarret Garber, right? Yeah. You are a college minister plus. There's some other things you do with digital ministry.
Yes.
So you are on staff there at the church. Mm-hmm. You are part of a team. We kind of, it seems like each year that we've gotten to interact with you guys, y'all send one small group, if you will, of like 50 or 60 or 75, just to us.
Yeah.
But there's busloads of y'all.
Yeah.
So y'all come in here on charter buses.
Yes.
We
have seven
buses.
60-passenger charter buses. 14-hour drive from Houston to Panama.
Right. A long way down I-20, right?
Yeah, I-10.
Is it 10 the whole way?
I-10.
You're right, because 20 is the one. I used to.
We
went to seminary in Fort Worth, but I was 20. You guys are on 10. Lots of pine trees.
But we just got a Buc-ee's on that, so we're good.
You got a Buc-ee's?
We got one.
Buc-ee's matter.
We don't stop there, though.
That helps.
We only stop at Mall of America. Yeah. And the one in Louisiana is the only place we stop.
So y'all, every time y'all come, y'all bring a lot of staff. And so, Chris, tell me what you do.
Yeah, so I serve at Houston's First as one of the worship leaders there. So I lead our modern kind of contemporary services and teams. And I also give some leadership to our student worship program. We have most of them are here with us this week. And we have a student choir. We have student worship leaders and band and all of that going on. So Sweet. I'm able to give some leadership to that. And so it's just fun to be here at camp with them, to see them serve during the day and then to see them be poured into in worship at night. So it's really
Now,
amazing.
for you guys, this is your youth camp.
Yes.
That's right.
But while you're doing the youth camp, and part of the good news portion of this, like you guys come to Panama City, Bay County.
Yeah.
You stay locally out on the beach. And you bring your money. I mean, like your kids pay to be here.
Yeah.
You bring in all those charter buses, and then you basically, if somebody was trying to get a rental car and couldn't, it's probably because you guys got all the vans, buses, shuttles, cars, and anything.
We got them all.
And we're still having a hard time getting some of ours.
And they're not cheap. I know that this year in particular, rental cars have been really hard to come by. If you haven't heard, these people would know this because we say it a lot. We're the fourth fastest growing airport in the country.
Wow.
Right? And so,
that's cool.
Anyway, in light of all that, though, you guys, you're all over the city typically when you come.
Yeah.
And I know that we've helped give some ideas along the way for you guys. You've been at some schools. We have some folks that are principal and leadership at some of those.
Yeah.
But you've been helping local churches. Typically, they're going to see you guys, and they're not going to know it's y'all. They're going to know it's one of our local churches. Yeah. And you guys are the ones behind the scenes helping make a lot of that happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 100%. And it really, I think, is our heart for the trip is that we want to come to Panama City, which is beautiful. All of our students love it. We live in Houston, so Galveston's an hour away, and it's brown water. So to see green, blue water is why we come.
That's right.
But we want to be intentional as a church. We don't want to just come and take your beautiful sand and your white beaches. We want to be able to give back to the community and invest here in Panama City when we're here each week.
Well, and you guys have been doing that for some time now.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that I wanted to kind of be able to tell your story is I remember, I think the first year I met you guys was in 2017.
Yeah.
And because you are who you are, I mean, Houston's First is a well-known church and you're a large church, large group. Many of our city leaders, y'all encouraged them and you wanted to know how you could help. You were able to do a block party for a lot of their really city leaders.
Yeah, and first responders as well.
Firefighters, police department, all that stuff. And so we got to partner with you down there, and y'all had ice cream and hamburgers and all that. I mean,
the Bluebell truck.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, and again, I'm just saying this for Bacon. You guys footed the bill for us to be able to do that and be a part of that, and that matters. And so you're investing again in our community. And then the hurricane hit.
Mm-hmm.
But before the hurricane, let's see, that was the summer of the hurricane. Did I say 17? It was 18.
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
So then the hurricane hit, and you guys didn't leave. Like you weren't here at that moment, but you didn't forget about us.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for our people to know, and I want to say it to any of your people that are watching. I mean, y'all had multiple staff members that called to check on us. Y'all were checking on other of the churches in our local association.
Yeah.
You guys obviously are a Baptist church, and so y'all have, we've got 40 or 50 some odd Southern Baptist churches in this community, and you guys have done an amazing job checking and encouraging and supporting financially. I mean, if you've got folks that are watching this, you need to know that those dollars that were given to support this trip, this ministry, these teenagers, it hit the ground here in a way that matters.
Yeah.
Because many of these churches are still trying to put all this stuff back together.
Yeah.
And so that trip was incredible. Then y'all came back last year, and you brought, is it okay to call him the big dog? You brought the pastor with you.
Yeah. 2 years ago. 2019.
Is it 2 years ago?
Yeah,
because last year's pandemic.
Yeah, we didn't go last year. 2 years ago, we brought our senior pastor. Yeah.
And that was Difference Makers 850.
Mm-hmm.
I literally wore my T-shirt this week. Just want you to know. I did. And y'all did a big deal out at Aaron Besant Park.
Mm-hmm.
It was an encouragement to the community. You brought the same group. That also coincided with a book the pastor wrote called Difference Makers, talking about making a difference in your world. Yeah. Really reflects a lot of what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
But I want you to know, the teenagers that y'all are bringing, they're doing stuff. Like, they're giving of their time and their summer. We see all these crazy kids all over the country, and it seems like the young people get a bad rap sometimes. But this group isn't that.
Yeah.
And teenagers want to do something that matters.
Yeah.
And so you're not just letting them soak up sun. They're here to serve.
100%. And I think we're giving them a bigger picture of their life. It's not just how many parties can we go to? Can we go to the beach and live it up? You can come to the beach. You can have fun. We have fun. we go to the beach. We swim for a couple hours, but we have a greater purpose from the Lord, and that's really neat to instill in this younger generation. And they do get a bad rep. I would totally agree with you. Yeah. They've got genuine hearts to serve. They want to be part of something bigger than themselves, which is beautiful.
I've had people tell me, one of my church members shared this, but basically the young generation has a real heart to make a difference. Some of them are just like half a turn off, and then it's our job to push them in the right direction.
Yep.
Some of us older, if y'all aren't older, but some of us older folks. We're about half turn the wrong direction on the grumpy side. And if we could ever just get all the motion the same way, we could make a real difference together.
That's right.
Now, y'all are here sharing good news. We're Good News Babe, but y'all are sharing good news too.
Yeah.
It's all about the gospel.
Right.
It's all about being an encouragement.
Yeah.
What kind of things have y'all been doing in days past? We talked about schools. Y'all have got some stuff kind of on a schedule. Y'all been here 2 or 3 different times, getting it scheduled. Staff working hard. I don't know if anybody's watching this that knows y'all made some trips to Panama City, and they probably are like, y'all are going to plan again in Panama City.
Yeah, that's what they think. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to sacrifice for the Lord in Panama.
This is different than some places where you show up and it's just a new group of kids, same beach. They're going through the motion. This stuff y'all are doing is unique. It's an encouragement to these pastors.
Yeah.
You mentioned New Midway. I didn't tell you this off air. I'm actually, I'm kind of married into that family of the pastor, Johnny Rockford.
No,
yeah, brother Johnny.
I didn't know
My
that.
granddaddy used to take him fishing when he was in the military.
I had no idea.
When he was a little boy, and
That's
now
cool.
we've all grown up. But
wow.
And I think they're related. They're doing some stuff at Rutherford.
They are.
And the point is, y'all got all these different things planned. I know another of the events that's been talked about is something that's near and dear to the hearts of many of not just our church members, but this community. Anchorage Children's Homes, multi-generations deep here. It is a true, authentic, grassroots, locally funded and operated children's home.
Yeah.
So
and our people, like Bay County people, they know the value of what they do. And it sounds like you guys are hoping to be able to interact with them some this week.
We are, yeah. And really for all of our sites, so we partner with several churches and schools and organizations. And so we just want to give away and do as much as we can. But for this one in particular, I called Alex, as you know, and said, hey, we're coming back. What can we do to be a blessing to the city of Panama and to be a blessing to your church as well? And the first thing he said is, hey, man, we want you to be part of Anchorage. And I remember him telling me the heart of that organization and
Yep.
and how they are helping these kids and encouraging them and helping them get in the right direction. I said, man, that's what we want to be a part of. We want to see our kids also be able to like interact with kids their same age and journey through life together and see if something really great can happen in the process.
Great.
I think it's awesome, and it's an important time of year to do that. I know that relative to Anchorage, this is the time when the kids obviously don't have school to be at, and so there's a lot involved in just keeping the activities regular and fun. And anybody wants to hang out with a group of fun teenagers. From Houston,
So we're gonna show up. We'll play some basketball and some other sports. We'll we'll get Chris out on the grill, flipping some patties, and
we may have to do something.
Put on the chef's hat, but we want to go and just love on those kids and be a part of the ministry that's already happening, which is really cool. That we love to see that y'all as a church and as a city surround them. We just want to come in and just ignite the flame even more, so that it can just keep being a great thing.
Well, I know that when y'all were here a couple of years ago, it was after the hurricane, and y'all did a lot of work around here. And Alex Gentili, who you connected with pretty well, he wanted a list of things. I said, the one thing you got to do.
It was number one on the list.
There's this oak root. There was a tree there. Now it's a root, and it has not. It just I look at it every single time I go into my office. It's part of the hurricane. I don't want to see it anymore. Yeah. And so your crew, and I actually brought it in that in case any of them are watching, and I hope they are, and I can share it with them.
Come on,
that's awesome.
I don't remember the young man's name, but there was a young man that
I think it was Matt.
If nothing else, he had to get this root. Now, to many of you, this just looks like a very rudimentary piece of oak root, but for a guy like me, and they heard me share on this on a Sunday.
You did.
Alex. We did Goodness of God, which is a song, right?
Yes.
And then Psalm 23 was part of the message.
That's great.
And Psalm 23 talks about God being both, I'm comforted by your rod and your staff. Thy rod and staff, they comfort me.
Yeah.
Well, the staff is how he takes care of the sheep, but the rod, that's that heavy oak knot that he and I was, because they gave me this, I was able to use this as a sermon. This is my knocker. I mean,
come on.
Like swinging up
like literally your rod and your staff, they comfort me. Think about that. I mean, and so our enemies can't. I mean, God, we don't have to be afraid. And so they literally wrote a verse on this paper about not being afraid.
Yeah.
And they presented me with what I call my knocker.
Wow.
And they all signed it. Yeah. And I'm saying that to say this stays in my office.
Yeah.
And it meant something to me then. Yeah. Not only did I not have to look at it, but now I get to look at it fondly.
In a redemptive way. Right?
In a redemptive way.
Right. I remember though, Alex, like every time I'd call him, he said, don't forget, he would remind me. He would say, hey, so we're doing this. We're going to straighten some trees up. We're going to, went to, I think, a local cemetery and tried to help with the city on some of that, the cleanup stuff. But he's like, and then don't forget about Pastor Steve's root. And it was, if we were not leaving without getting that taken care of. That's really fun to see.
I want your people to know it matters to us. I want the parents, if there's some parents that are here and some of your leadership, I know there are folks that sponsor this. This takes big money to do what you guys are doing. I mean, it really does. Mm-hmm. And it takes a lot of time. Many of us here felt kind of left out after the storm in a lot of ways. Yeah. You guys kept calling, you kept coming. You have invested more than most of us know in a variety of different ways. We all here locally know the church got hammered. And many of them are still struggling, but you guys have been supportive in a variety of ways. And I want to say thank you for that. Also, I'm a native, right? And so I think it would be okay knowing that there's probably some Texas listeners, some Houston's First listeners, maybe even your pastor. Yeah. On behalf of Panama City and the people in Bay County, our leadership, thank you guys for investing in us. Thank you for encouraging our people. And thanks for continuing to come. I mean, we're grateful that we're growing up as a community. We've got one-way flights to a lot of places, or like direct flights. It used to be everything had to go through Atlanta. And Delta's great. Yeah. But a few years back, we got Southwest. And so they started getting direct flights to Nashville, to Houston. And it's not just folks coming for these beautiful beaches and so that we can serve them, which we love. Yeah. But we're thrilled to know that some of those folks that are coming are actually coming not just to say what can we do for them, but what can they do for us. That's right. We appreciate you guys very much. So good.
It's so special. I think it's a two-way street, right? Because I think for us, it's just a blessing, coming from Houston's First. I think to see so many for our students, to see just the kingdom of God is so much bigger than their little area. And to see that God is working here and he's working in Houston. But for us to come and just put a little win in your sails, I mean, the blessing is ours, I think. And so we're just grateful to be a part of that kind of kingdom work. It's amazing.
You have been. We're not a big church. We're in the probably among some of the larger churches in our little area. But compared to you guys, we are a little church. And you guys have been able to do some things with our local churches that we couldn't have done. So we're just exceedingly thankful.
Yeah, and I agree with Chris. I mean, I just think it gets like a picture of the church collective. Man. You know, I think so much in our society, we're all focused on building our own kingdoms or churches or, you know, whatever. It's all internally focused. But we look at the story of the gospel and, you know, when the Spirit comes in Acts 1:8, Jesus says that the Spirit's going to come, give power, Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, into the earth. You know, we can't just be focused on Houston's first. That's not what we're called to do as a church. So this is cool to see how the church can expand. And amazing. We feel so connected to you guys. Y'all are family, truly.
Oh, we have it. I'm jealous sometimes I can't sit in and get more when y'all come to town because I just pop in for 5 minutes or 10 or 15. But it is a good news piece that both people that are believers and people that aren't believers, when they see churches that are just trying to be like Jesus, they're just trying to be the church as Christ intended it to be. It excites them. It's good news. It's great news. That's right. Hopefully you guys will see these folks if it's not where they're staying, somewhere locally this week, and can encourage them and thank them. Houston's First Baptist, Jarret, Chris, thank you guys for being our guest today, and welcome to Panama City. We hope y'all have a really good week.
Man, thank you so much, and thank you guys for letting us be coming here. And we love your city, love what y'all are doing, and there is Good News Bay. It's fun to be a part of this.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thank you for listening to our podcast today. If you were encouraged by the good news, we would ask you to subscribe through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, as well as YouTube. If you will subscribe, all new content will come your way. You'll get notified of it, and it'll help us to brighten Bay County. Thanks, guys.